Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we are going to be diving down into the charts to take a look at Cardano once again. Taking a look to see, exactly what's going on with this recent pullback and whether or not we are going to get an additional 5 waves much higher, taking out the key area of $1.26.7. As I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. If you do join, I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find. It's completely free, so why not check it out? Right, let's jump right down into Cardano here. So we're going to be taking a look at ADA on the hourly to start with. Binance is our data source, and we are paired up with USDT. I do want to just say off of the bat right here that we are overbought on our hourly chart. So we are expecting some kind of short-term corrective move here on the hourly. And we're not expecting anything too much. I'm going to go through what that looks like in a moment. But obviously on the larger time frames, such as the 4 hourly, we're actually primed for a good move up. The 8 hourly chart just down here is almost in the oversold area. The daily obviously is still overbought. So what we're talking about essentially is a big surge up to that area, that key area. And obviously in order to do that, we need to first pull this hourly stochastic down. Ideally, it doesn't have to. It can stay up here for a while. It's been up here previously for quite some time. And so it's possible that we stay up here, but I would prefer to see this down as it aligns everything up nicely. So we do watch for a little bit of volatility to start with. But I want to talk a little bit around, what's gone on. We've had a really good structure so far, right? 5 waves up, 3 waves down, 5 waves up, and 3 waves down. So I want to just talk about this. We're going to grab the fib. We're just going to measure the distance on this to make sure everything is as expected and there's nothing crazy going on here. Essentially, we pulled down past the 1-to-1, the 1-to-1 ratio of the A to the C wave. That was $1.08.6. This was a key area. This is actually where I was kind of articulating in Discord yesterday, saying that this is the area that is the 1-to-1 ratio is nothing to worry about. And we actually wicked down a little bit lower. Okay, the key area for us to kind of watch out for was $1.03.8. If we crossed that, it was impulsive down, and potentially we would have come down much lower. Fortunately, that isn't the case, and we've actually seen reversal, and we pushed higher than the A wave high, which was also marked up here as a previous area of resistance. Essentially, what we've got is a move, right? We've gone up with an A wave, B down with a B wave, and up with a C wave, right? But we need to obviously be, a little bit more accurate on this. We need to measure the distance of our A wave just here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I need to make sure I get this absolutely spot on, because we are very close, and I want to be as accurate as I can with this. So here, right, we've got our little A wave coming up, and I'll mark that on here so you can see it. So we have A coming up here, we have B coming down, and then C going up, right? That's kind of how you would look at it. However, if I actually remove that and we move this fib over to the bottom of that B wave, we can see that we've actually just hit 1.618. This is not an ABC move, but in fact an impulsive move. Okay, so wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, we'll have some kind of 4th wave, and then we'll have a 5th wave going higher. That 5th wave, I would imagine, will probably come into resistance of this B wave, and then we look for some kind of ABC corrective play. Okay, it shouldn't be anything too crazy, but we'll watch out for any deeper corrections. There'll be a correction of sorts here. At some point, it might be deeper. It might retrace us down all the way to about 107. Who knows, right? Until we start to see it, we don't know. We can speculate on what that looks like, but we don't know for certain. Essentially, though, wave 2, which is what that would be, would normally be quite a deep move anyway. Okay, so the main thing that we've got here is 5 impulsive moves up and some kind of corrective play. Essentially, what I'm talking about on a slightly larger scale is, if I grab hold of this all being a wave 1. This being a wave 2, then we move up into a nice wave 3, down for a wave 4, and then up past the key technical area of 1.26.7. Okay, so essentially that then completes the 3rd wave on a larger timescale. Okay, you can see wave 3 just labeled up here, and we haven't quite got there just yet. Okay, so we have to go past 126.7 in order to make that an impulsive move, and this is the start of exactly that. Okay, and there'll be one big correction in the middle there. I say big on, it's big on the hourly, it's not huge at all. Likewise, just over here, but the 4th wave is going to be more complex in the same way that this potential 4th wave was going to be complex, right? So we have 2 corrective moves and 3 impulsive ones. That's kind of the aim and the objective here. Okay, so I'm going to remove that for now. We'll just focus in on this this little tiny wave 1. right here. So we should be thinking about hitting this high point. I imagine that the resistance for this is going to come in right about here on top of this B wave at about 116.7. I would imagine that's probably where we're going to be. And then from there, you know, we'd expect some kind of pullback. It might just be a 5%. I don't know. It's not going to be noticeable, I don't think, to many people. But some kind of corrective move before we move on up again, essentially. So as I said, you know, with our Patreon members yesterday, we actually loaded up on a trade with this one because, you know, in this corrective state down here in this C wave, essentially was a good opportunity to get into Cardano ahead of this surge upwards. So, you know, a lot of our members are, I think, following that particular trade that I've opened up personally. So definitely want to kind of keep an eye on in terms of where the directional move and what we're looking at trying to achieve here. Okay, so that's kind of our hourly chart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that fib because we don't need it, and we're going to hop on up into our daily chart. Okay, it's our daily chart that we are witnessing this, and this is the key area of 126.7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just measure out the distance of the wave one just here. This is going to be not as accurate, but I already know the target is 126.7, so you can see exactly right there. So that 1.618, that is the target. Okay, that's what we're looking for with this wave 3 high, and we're in the last little 5 waves. Okay, so for people who don't understand how the Elliott wave theory works, essentially inside wave 3 there would be 5 waves. Okay, and inside each of those, you know, you've got more waves, right? It kind of nests it inside each other, and I went through this with the Patreon members yesterday. So essentially, we're in the 5th wave of wave 3, and we're tracking we're tracking the first set of 5 waves. Then there'll be 3, then there'll be 5, then there'll be 3, and then there'll be 5. And by the time we get to that final 5th wave of the 5th move, essentially we should be well above 1.618. Okay, so that's the idea, and that's kind of what we're tracking here when it comes to these moves. Essentially, once we get to the top of wave 3, we have a more substantial retracement for Cardano. This will just be a natural kind of correction, but it is a wave 4, and wave 4s are usually more complex than wave 2s. Wave 2s are usually deep, as you can see right here. Okay, so we are looking at potentially, you know, it's possible that it's just a straight A, B, C, right? It's very possible, but I think it's more probable that we're going to end up with some kind of double or triple corrective pattern, or we end up with what we've already seen with Cardano, an expanding flat correction, something to those effects, right? But essentially that's kind of what we're looking for. Now this is on the daily chart, we're just tracking this here, and essentially this on our daily chart is potentially just essentially just one kind of really small wave. We then end up with that ABC coming down afterwards, again relatively deep. It should be relatively deep. Then we end up with, if we get the good structure appearing here, another 5 waves up, followed by some additional 4th wave correction, and then an additional final 5 waves up, right? And that's kind of the idea and the structure of this. Now, all of that on our weekly chart would be simple as a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Okay, so essentially all of these things are nesting together. It's too soon to really speculate on where all of those go, but that's the structure that we're looking for here, and we're at the very beginning of this, right? So I also mentioned this to our Patreon members on our AMA last night in Discord. Essentially, what we've got here is the structure and the foundation of reversal, right? I think if I come up into the weekly chart, for example, timing the market is incredibly difficult, right? And trying to buy the exact bottom is really, really tough, right? Likewise, selling the exact top, really, really difficult. However, there are things that you can do that help us understand, you know, what's going on, and counting these waves on these micro levels, nest them inside the larger levels and so forth, help us understand where to buy and where not to buy. In the case of Cardano, we were basically telling, you know, or I say telling, you know, informing our community down in Discord that right about there was a really good opportunity to buy. And that was a really key point, because essentially what we've done is we've invalidated the additional low points that were also valid until you proven otherwise. We proved that actually there was more room to the upside than to the downside. We dollar cost averaged on this particular dip right here, which is not the direct bottom by any stretch of the imaginations, but it's incredibly close. And then we can ride that up for, you know, 40% currently, I think, going much, much higher. And like I said, this is the beginning of a final 5th wave on our weekly chart, if we zoom out, right? So ultimately, we're in a really good position here because we're buying this low point on wave 4 in the same way that me and Chris back in the day bought, right down here at the bottom of wave 2. Okay, so it would have been better to buy in March lows 2020, right? But there's until proven otherwise, until proven that we aren't going down any lower, essentially what we want to do is you want to see the invalidations by pushing up, pulling down into the low point, buying the low point, riding it up to the high point, potentially selling if that's your thing. If not, you hodl. Again, you move up here, and then you buy the dip, which was there, and essentially you sort yourself out with a really good position and ride it up into the next level. So essentially, what we've done with Cardano here is it's not buying the bottom, but we got very, very close to it. And, now we get to enjoy the kind of ride to the upside. However, as I will illustrate on the daily chart, there are additional opportunities, okay, with a lot of this stuff. We ride up into that third wave high, there's going to be a pullback, right? And we have options. You can either sell here, buy here, or, alternatively, obviously I can't give you financial advice, but, I'm reading the data. You can hodl all the way through and just add to your bag at the bottom of wave 4 again, right? And you continue to build the position. As I said, all of this is just going to be wave 1 on a larger scale. So there will be, once we get to the top of wave 5, some kind of deeper correction that will be required. So do watch out for that. And again, that's pretty much consistent across all of the different altcoins as well. But right now, let's just focus in on what is going on here and now in terms of the price action of Cardano. We must absolutely hold $1.10.8 in order to keep this valid, so we want to be watching out for that. But essentially we're on the cusp now of making this entire move, all of this reversal, concreting it in with an impulsive move on the daily chart, which is what it's all about. So guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.